All right, Larissa, this is going to be a quick video. Hang on a second. Okay. So since we're going to be doing a trail ride tomorrow during your lesson rather than working here, I won't be able to show you this new, it's not new, but this is what I've been working on with Kessie. And so I wanted to kind of show you this because this is something you can do when I'm not here as well. So this is just called tying their head around, and then for other people watching this, doing this with other horses, you want to be careful with this exercise. Like anything in horse training, you want to make sure your horse knows the answer before you ask the question, right? In this case, your horse has to be good at lateral flexion and know how to give to pressure to get out of a jam, because you're going to be tying this rein off, and if that horse doesn't know how to give to it, they could flip over backwards or hurt themselves, hurt your tack, something bad. So what we're gonna do, well, first I'm just gonna have her go around because I wanna show kind of what I'm trying to fix, okay? Now I've already done this some today, I've done this some the last couple days, so it is getting better, but she needs a lot of this. Most horses only need a day or two of this. She's probably gonna need a couple weeks of this. Okay, I'm just gonna have her go around me. Now she's already going around with her head a little bit lower, nice and slow, driving up with her hind end, but she's still a little front end heavy and her nose is stuck out a little bit more than I'd like. And when I speed her up to the trot, you can see how her head kind of bounces up in the air and she kind of uses her head to get her body going. She's not really arching her back and lifting her back and moving very correctly. Now this is better. It's not super obvious that it's not great because I've already tied her head around a couple times today, but still there's some correction. Keep going, girl, to be done. Now I'm going to speed her up to a lope as well. You can see how that lope departure is better than it used to be, but still not great. Now that's actually pretty good right there. So what I'm looking at here is look at the slope of her back. And when I say slope, I'm talking left to right. That lope right there, her back was fairly level, meaning her body was in an upright position. I'm gonna go ahead and stop her for a second and describe this, because you can rewind the video and see what I'm talking about, especially as she did her lope departure. In the past, she has tended to really lean over to the side and lope almost like you're turning a motorcycle in a circle, right? And so if you were riding, what you'd feel is you're literally leaning over like this. I want her to stand up her shoulders, stand up her body, and the saddle should stay pretty level as she's loping. Even as she's going around those corners, that saddle should stay up and down. And it's kind of a telltale sign if your horse is not using its body correctly, if you're doing groundwork and you see that saddle tilt in towards you, okay? And that's what I was seeing a lot of. And so what I've been doing to fix it, and that wasn't near as bad right there, that saddle was closer to level, but I've been tying her head around, so I'll go ahead and demonstrate, even though I don't have the bad way to show you. But now the key here is knowing how far to bend her head around when you tie it off. And this kind of just comes with experience. If you keep this too loose, she's going to be able to keep her head basically straight and brace and just hang on the bit. Okay, now it's not going to be super comfortable for her, but it'll be more comfortable for her just to hang on the bit than it will be for her to give to it. So you want enough pull, and this might actually be a little bit loose because you can see she's able to keep her head pretty much straight there. I'm going to tighten that up just a little bit. You want it tight enough that she has to be in a small amount of bend. But you also want it loose enough that she has somewhere to go. So you can see if she bends her head this way, she could loosen up this rein, right? And that's really important, to give them a place to go. We're not tying this around just for the sake of tying it and holding it. We're tying it at a place where she can get off that pressure, because ultimately I want her to learn how to be off that pressure all the time. So just a little bit of touch makes her want to yield more to that, okay? So now initially with the horse, I would just tie their head around like this and leave them for a couple minutes, and they'll probably spin in some circles and stuff. And when they get off that rein, I would go up and untie it. She's more advanced. She can go ahead and do some groundwork. So I'm just going to send her. I'm only going to send her in the direction that we're already set up to go. So I'm not going to have her do a right circle bent to the left. We're only going to do left circles bent to the right, or, right circles bent to the right. You know what I mean. Same side bend as the circle we're on. And what I'm watching for here is she fighting that bit on every step, or is she finding that point of release? If she keeps her head and neck released off that rein, she won't have any choice but to engage her muscles, her core, and her legs and carry herself correctly. This horse has a very hard time carrying herself correctly, and that's why we get a lot of resistance under saddle. And the reason I'm doing this exercise is, I could fight with her under saddle for the next 6 months and I'd probably win, but I'd have to have really good timing, and any little mess ups that I make are going to mess up her, right? Doing this, that rein is fixed to a solid point. It's never going to have bad timing. Every time she releases to it, she's going to get a release. Every time she pulls on it, she's going to get pulled on. It takes that human element out. It also gets her, if she gets a little offended at being pulled on like this, well, she's going to get offended at herself, because the saddle is part of her right now. It's her pulling on herself, right? Keep going. It's not me up there pulling on the bit. So it kind of keeps her from being offended at me and teaches her to get off that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and have her trot. I'm trying to keep this video short, but I'm talking a lot. Good. Can you see how that slack is coming into the rein pretty often there? She's really starting to learn to get off that rein. This is what I want to see. Now I'm looking at that saddle. It's tipped a little bit towards me. So her whole body, her whole back is rolled a little bit towards me. Keep going. But not as bad as it has been. That shoulder is starting to stand up. And that's what bending this head to the inside does. The shoulder has to stand up in order for her to physically move her feet. So we're kind of putting her in a bit of a jam, and the only way out of the jam is to use your body correctly, okay? I'm going to go ahead and ask her to lope. There, good. You see how she picked up the wrong lead initially, but then she fixed herself and got the correct lead, and now there her shoulder is nicely stood up. The saddle's pretty flat, her hip is pretty flat, and she's actually carrying herself. Now it's awfully big and bouncy, right? But I'm not worried about that at this point. She'll line herself out. Yeah, I might ask her to keep walking. I shouldn't have brought her all the way to a stop there from the trot. I've been getting in a bad habit of that. I want to bring her down to that walk, and then we can allow her to stop. Good. Okay, now the way I finish this exercise off is I come up here, and I'm just going to stand. I'm not going to undo this rein just yet, okay? Usually as you approach the horse right here, the rein is going to be pretty tight. She's probably going to be pulling against the rein, trying to kind of take her head away from the human walking up. There, the rein got loose. I'm going to loosen this. And I do this in kind of 2 stages. I loosen it from the horn, wait for that rein to get tight again, because a lot of times that movement as you're loosening it from the horn will kind of push her head back out. She'll take that head back against the rein. And so I only move and loosen things when she's loose to the rein, okay? Now we want to do everything on both sides. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, you're standing on the rein, girl. I need that. There we go. All right, I'm going to pull this up. Wrap the rein. I just do a little half hitch over the horn. I want to make sure she's not moving on her own, right? And then I'll go and ask her to walk. She has a nice bend. Her back's nice and straight. She's really getting off that rein nicely. I want to kind of push her more over to the center here so that the camera can see her a little bit better. Good, so you can really see her driving up with her hind end here, using her body to push her forward instead of her head. Okay, master trot. Good, and what a nice trot departure that was compared to what we've had before. That's nice. Now I know she's way over bridled, right? But that way when I release, she should come back to a good vertical plane of her nose. There we go. So when she releases against that rein and really bridles up like that and over bridles, She's really building up all those shoulder and back and core muscles. Nice. The saddle's nice and level, shoulders elevated. This is pretty good. Keep going, girl. All right, I'm gonna ask her to lope. Okay, now I want you to watch during the trot, right before she loped, I want you to watch how much that saddle rolled to the inside. So it tells you when she's trotting like this, the saddle's pretty level, right? She's in a pretty good body position like this. She can trot pretty decently. But when she goes to lope off, it all falls apart. And that's what you feel under saddle too. You'll be trotting real nice and you'll be like, oh, I can lope. And you ask her to lope and everything falls apart. Well, it's falling apart in the groundwork. And so I'm gonna keep doing this every day until she can just lope apart. Now, right lead is her difficult lead to get, almost impossible under saddle sometimes. Left lead's usually pretty good, so we're kind of seeing that from the ground too, right? Her left side, she did pretty easily, picked up that lope. This right side, not so much. She's at least picking up the right lead, which is good, but she's going into a super fast trot and falling into the lope rather than just elevating and pushing off into it. A little bit better. That was a little bit better there. I'm going to go ahead and let her slow down to a walk here. I want her to find that walk is easier than trotting and pushing. Right now she's kind of pushing through that bit because I'm not driving her anymore. But you can't stop completely. You got to keep walking. And that's why I don't want to stop her from that trot every time. I want her to find that walk. And now see how tight that rein is? That rein is just taut the entire time. She's not giving softly with her neck and driving up through her body anymore because we did all that trotting and loping. There, now she's getting soft, and I'll go ahead and let her stop here. Okay, same thing on this side. I'm going to come up here. I'm going to wait for her to put slack in this rein. Once she puts slack in it once, I'm going to undo the top portion. By the way, I just have this running through the breast collar ring here, and there's a little bit of friction on that point. And then I have it half hitched to the horn. So as soon as she puts some slack in this rein and brings her head over to this side a little bit, there, that's pretty good. I'll go ahead and undo the top portion. And she's kept that slack in. I'll just do the bottom portion, and I kind of pull it through that D-ring pretty quick so that she doesn't hit the end of that rein, because I don't want her to ever feel like she can pull the rein out of my hand. I want it to be pretty much a quick release. So I'm going to go ahead and stop the video there. Actually, I will show, I'm just going to send her around me once and see it. Let's just see if that helped any. And I don't know if it will, because like I said, this is going to take quite a few times doing this before I think we're going to see a lot of result, but who knows? Let's see. So I just want to see if we've made any improvement from that. So I think her head and neck is a little looser here, maybe. Her nose might be a touch more into the inside. Maybe my imagination, might not be. But I do think that trot departure was better. I like that trot better. All right, let's see if she can lope depart. And I see that saddle tilting to the inside. And that saddle's pretty well tilted, so that was better. Want her to find that walk. Okay, I'm gonna stop the video now. Obviously there's a lot more work to do there. This is gonna take a few weeks. She's just not really a natural mover like that, but that's okay. You know, you work on whatever the horse needs. Some horses are just natural athletes, but they may need work on other things. So it's no big deal. It's just this is taking a little longer than most horses. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. And that's a really great technique if you feel like your horse isn't using its body correctly. Or if you're getting into fights under saddle, it's a really good technique. So, all right, thanks for watching.